Hey guys, Iggy here at the Red Wall. Hey, in preparation for this upcoming training we're doing in Largo, Florida, and at the request of our president, Stefan Martel, I'm going to do a little history that you guys have been asking about, the history of these competitions, where they started, what was the intention, and where we're at now. So I'm going to go through a quick history, try to do this in 8 minutes or less. I apologize to these organizations such as the World Rescue Organization and Cameron Black and Transportation Emergency Rescue Committee USA, Carl Forgione, and Canada, Nick Bammer Nicolou, and of course to our own organization, NAVRA and Steph Martel, but I'm going to try to do this as quick as I can. So in 1984, Fire Chief Alan Duquois, the Office of Fire Marshal Ontario, Canada, originated the concept of an International Automobile Extrication Challenge and Learning Symposium. The number of transportation accidents was increasing both in Canada and the United States, resulting in a higher number of deaths and serious injuries. This prompted Chief Duquois to provide a medium where an international forum of experts can come together and exchange information, ideas, and life-saving techniques. This medium would provide a wealth of information to all who attended. Everyone who participated would teach, learn, share, and develop lasting friendships with their peers from around the world. The International Association of Fire Chiefs sanctioned Transportation Emergency Rescue Committee in 1986. This provided the centralized coordinating body to promote the furtherance of extrication education. In 1986, Transportation Emergency Rescue Committee International was formed and funded by the International Association of Fire Chiefs. Currently, 12,000 fire chiefs serving involved. TERC did a study in 1986 on the auto accident mortality rates and found that the national on-scene time was an average of 48 minutes. They identified the three areas of vehicle extrication as response time, on-scene time, and transport time. Of the three areas they found, on-scene time was the area they could affect the most. Medical and trauma physicians taught TERC about the golden hour and the quarter-inch of movement rule. It simply states that it takes as little as a quarter-inch of movement to make an incomplete spinal fracture complete. So a patient is involved in an accident, their head snaps forward, back, sideways, what have you, and anything we do from that point on is to try to not make it worse. So if we approach the patient from the side and they turn, that's a quarter-inch of movement. If we don't protect the patient against glass and let them know what's going on, and we break a glass to gain access towards them and they go with the glass shattering over their face, that's a quarter-inch of movement. Putting or taking weight off the vehicle, not stabilizing properly, makes the car move, so the patient is in the car, and if the seat is moving, obviously the neck is moving, and that's why we have that quarter-inch of movement rule that we try to follow on all of our calls. So in 1991, Coral Gables started its first extrication team, which I was very fortunate enough to be a part of under at the time Lieutenant Neil DeJesus and our Fire Chief Dave Teams who formed it. And these two individuals had such an impact in the world of auto extrication, not just for our department, but local departments as well. So I need to give credit where credit is due there. So in 1992, we are part of first ever World Extrication Challenge held in Morton-in-the-Marsh in England using live patients. First time any scenarios were used anywhere in the world with live patients in the cars. In 1999, the WRO was formed and the first ever World Extrication Challenge was held in Australia. So now we have this big governing body kind of controlling, inviting teams from around the world. Up until then, TERC was doing all the international competitions. Now we have what's called a world competition. In 2000, Coral Gables Fire Department competed and placed second overall in the World Extrication Challenge in Gullin, Scotland, which was the first time that a rapid extrication scenario was ever held. So we had a chance to see compete in what was a 10-minute rapid or dirty extrication, what we call dirty extrication in the field. 2001, Coral Gables Fire Department won its first overall competition at a world level in Johannesburg, South Africa, which featured the first ever limited manpower scenario, along with the unlimited scenario, the rapid scenario, as well as a limited scenario, which teams were allowed to use only 3 of team members for the entire event, for the entire scenario. In 2002, the IFC stopped funding TERC. So TERC USA and TERC Canada were formed. Here we have no support now from this big, huge body, so it became 2 separate bodies. TERC USA maintained peripheral contact with the WRO. There was issues with the medical criteria that there was resistance to on the TERC side. And I think that, in conjunction with the splitting up away from the TERC International, is where the attention went into kind of reestablishing their own organization. In 2007, the first ever complex scenario was held in Barcelona, Spain. I had the opportunity and the pleasure of assessing that year, and the very first time we had a complex scenario. I was actually in the complex pit because of my paramedic certification, along with Ricky Fernandez, who was also an assessor at that competition. And hands down, it was the most favorite scenario of all the teams competing, regardless of how they did in the competition. The feedback we got was that was the most realistic scenario, because it featured a 30-minute scenario in which you have a critical but not entrapped patient. We're looking for like a dirty rescue, a rapid extrication of that patient. And the second patient in the scenario is entrapped but stable. So it combines the old rapid extrication with the old unlimited extrication, which you could use set number of hand tools and set number of hydraulic tools. Up until then, the common scenarios for most of these organizations was an unlimited hydraulic scenario, which you had 20 minutes, stable patient to try to get them out, but they were entrapped, so you have to disentangle them and get them out. And then the other scenario, which was a hand tool scenario, and that scenario was basically using air chisels, hacksaws, and sawzalls in that scenario to free the patient. Again, it was an entrapped but stable patient. And what we were looking for in that scenario, and the reason it was created, was to help us stay in touch with our hand tool use and knowledge of hand tools in case we have hydraulic tool failure. We had become very hydraulically dependent back in the late 80s and early 90s. And also to use hand tools in conjunction in simultaneous function with the hydraulics. So hydraulics can be used on one side of the car, one part of the car, while your hand tools can be used on the other. So that's what the gist of these scenarios were up until this complex scenario in 2007. That one really changed the game. Then in 2008, NAVRA is formed. The bridge between USA and WRO was reestablished. In 2008, 2012, we went to an economic depression here. Little to no vehicle rescue competitions, challenges, symposiums, especially in the state of Florida. 2012, we have our first vehicle extrication after 5 years with nothing, and that was at BSO. Broward Sheriff's Office hosted that one. 2013, NAVRA hosts the very first World Rescue Organization World Extrication Challenge, held in Clearwater, Florida. 30 teams from around the world. Excellent competition where they actually had to take the tools, instead of a set tool on a staging area, they actually remove them from the vehicles. Very innovative. Since 2013, NAVRA has hosted national competitions, sending their top 3 teams to the World Extrication Challenge, held in different countries each year. Since the inception of the WRO World Extrication Challenge in '99, only one team has won the overall award, Coral Gables in 2001, or placed second in overall, which was Coral Gables the year before in 2000. Until 2018, when the Miami-Dade Fire Rescue Blackhearts placed 3rd overall. How do we compete with the WRO teams? NAVRA is committed to putting on realistic lifelike scenarios in all of our challenges, whether they be invitational, regional, national, or international, or world event. We plan on doing this by rewriting our own criteria and score sheets, and using only certified assessors to shadow assessors to instruct and assess at these events. That's it. Hope you guys enjoyed it. I'm sorry I ran a little bit over. Please stay tuned to the next video, which will be on forming a team and gaining support of your administration and vendors. You guys stay safe.